Schrager, so let's start with Matthew Stafford, over under 1.5 passing touchdowns.
I'm going to say over on the passing touchdowns. I'm going to go with that, thinking they're going to have to throw the ball today with that great Seattle front seven. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, I think over. Seattle needs to generate some offense. This is their go-to guy, potential offensive player of the year in the NFL. Let's not forget about him. Over. And then this one I love, Dan. Anytime touchdown. Kanata Mumfield. Kanata Mumfield. This is a 7th-round pick with 2 catches on the year. If Devontae doesn't go, he does a lot of the stuff in the offense that they're hoping at least can mimic what Devontae does. Take a moonshot. Kanata Mumfield. Hello.
Mumfield ran a season-high 13 routes last week against the Lions, so he might be on the upswing. A $10 bet wins you $130. On DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code NFL Live when you sign up. Kanata Mumfield and this Rams offense clicking on all cylinders right now, from Matthew Stafford to the run game. Rams runners have been very successful outside the tackles, but the Seahawks defense has been very good at stopping those types of runs. So Dan and J-Mac, what exactly are the Rams doing in that run game that is making it so effective?
All right, so the go-to run for the Rams is a run that we in offensive football call duo. The premise is double teams, and we want to get the ball to the unblocked defender. You see the Buffalo Bills run this. These teams that are really good at running the football, this is kind of the staple that they want to get to. I always laugh at it because I sit there and I say defenses should know that runs like this are coming. And I always sit there and go, defensive backs know
we do
that
know
that's
it's
the
coming.
run that's trying to get hit. How come you guys consistently can't stop it? So I want to go to the starting point for this run, okay? So let's start at the basics of duo. I mentioned the basics of duo or double team. So what would that look like if you were the Rams? It would mean that you would take this center and guard, and they would double team defensive tackle to backer, and then they would take tackle and tight end, double team defensive end to backer. So here's the problem, 2 ways. One, teams have decided to drop a backside defender in to try to shoot the backside gap, and that pushes these backers over. When those backers push over, the double team is harder. Also, that block would basically be impossible for this winged tight end, okay? So here's what the Rams have started to do. I call it insert and double insert. This guy is going to slow motion down in. He's going to insert into the line of scrimmage to block that guy. And then you'll see that outside tight end motion down. And now he's going to insert to now put a tight end on the backer. The double teams are off. So look at this. Everybody for the Rams is a guy on a guy on a guy on a guy. I mentioned getting the ball to the unblocked defender. There's that unblocked defender.
Ready to go.
So what's the problem with him? How is it always so hard for you guys to stop?
What I love about offensive guys is because they think they're the smartest person in the room, and they're just brilliant. They came up with this amazingly designed offensive play. For the defense, we have now 5 guys on the front. So like Dan said, because we're so much better than them, they have to now motion people to try to get angles because they can't win the one-on-one block. They're going to double team it right here. You talked about this defensive back. This is picture perfect. He is in his gap. This is his gap. He is filling it on the outside shoulder of the guy he was defending who just inserted. Now, for the guys, all 11 guys have to do their job. This is my gap to fill it. This right here, Barnes, the linebacker on the outside. His lone responsibility is what we call setting the edge. When you set the edge, nothing gets where, Dan?
Outside.
Outside of you. Nothing gets outside of you. If he does his job, that now allows the defensive back to be able to do his job.
But isn't that, why would that defensive back go inside? Is this because you're saying
this
it's
is his man-to-man. So he has 87. So now Campbell knows when he's blocked, I have to stay inside out on the guy blocking me because the person defending him, you're saying right here, he now inserts and I'm filling that hole. We're gapped out. You saw him? As Barnes is falling, he's like, what are you doing?
If that defensive back stays outside.
Tackle for a loss, and here we go. We get up and now we get to celebrate.
I'm telling you, the Rams are going to run this 20 times tonight. Can Seattle fit it the right way and then tackle it the right way?
I can.
NFL opens. It will come to a close on Monday Night Football when Brock Purdy and the 49ers head to Indianapolis for a matchup with, Phillip Rivers and the Colts. 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, Disney Plus, and the ESPN app. Coverage kicks off with NFL Live at 3 Eastern from Lucas Oil Stadium and continues at 6 with the Monday Night Countdown crew.
Speaking of Monday Night Football, we are now joined by Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, who will be on the call for Colts 49ers. How we doing? Troy, I ask you, Phillip Rivers came out of retirement to lead the Colts down the stretch here. What's your take on the whole situation, and how can Shane Steichen get the most out of a 44-year-old quarterback moving forward?
Well, I found last week to be pretty interesting with Phillip Rivers. Well, first of all, I'm just amazed at his age that he decided to come back and play. And I'm sitting down with him actually on Sunday. I'm looking forward to talking to him mostly about how he has been able to recover this week. Because it's one thing to be able to go out and play at 44 years old. It's another thing to be able to bounce back a week later and then go try to do it all over again. The game plan last week, as we all saw, was about him getting the ball out of his hands quickly and trying to run the football. And it went to perfection up until the very end. Defense unable to make a last stop. But I'm impressed with what he's been able to do, and I'm looking forward to the fact that he'll be playing on Monday night, and we'll be covering it. So I'm excited about it.
Hypothetically speaking, I know you are a body is a temple man. If you played on Sunday, how long do you think it would take to get out of bed the following morning?
Well, hey, I was 34 years old when I retired. It took me a few days back then. That was over 20 years ago. So that's what I'm saying. Even my last couple of years of playing, I would usually be at my sorest around Tuesday, and later in my career, it was more like Thursday or Friday. So not that he got hit a ton, but still, just the simple fact of throwing the football, if you really haven't been throwing or you're not in game condition, and we all know, those of us that once played, the demands physically, and then to be out of football that long and at that age is pretty impressive.
Rivers is up against 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. As you start to really pour into the film, what are you seeing from him in that 49ers offense since he's gotten back on the field?
Well, I think the one thing to remember is they were all together week one, and then with the variety of injuries they've had, George Kittle, of course, Purdy missed time. It was just a few weeks ago that they got everybody back on the field offensively. I know the last time we saw the 49ers against Carolina, Brock had a tough outing. They were able to win that game still, but he had 3 interceptions in that first half. But the last 2 games, I think he's playing his best football right now. And what I've seen without a running game is he's had to create a lot with his legs, and he's done a good job of that. I think he's a real weapon. I think he's a much better athlete probably than he gets credit for. I like his moxie. He's extremely confident. That at times creates a lot of big plays for him, and then at times, sometimes it gets him in trouble. But you want a guy like that at quarterback, especially within this offense. They haven't run the ball nearly as well as they have in years past. It's shocking, quite honestly, because I still think Christian McCaffrey is exceptional. They just have been unable to get that part of it going. And the offense, of course, with the defense that they've had with the injuries, it's really incumbent on them offensively to carry this football team. And the fact that they are where they are right now within that division, still with an opportunity to win the division. I know the big game tonight you guys broke down is going to be huge. But the 49ers have positioned themselves in a really good spot as we go through these last few weeks.
You guys were great on the call on Monday night. Aaron Rodgers was pretty good on the field, too. Thought this sound was interesting. Take a listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say the day after the game on Monday night.
So it's kind of what I said after the game. There's some cast-offs if you look at our roster, which makes it really special. Kenny Gainwell signed a next-to-nothing contract. Connor Hayward, an afterthought, had a touchdown run. Marquez been on a couple teams. Adam Thielen got cut. Samuel was on the street for a long time. So it says a lot about the character of the guys we brought in.
Do you consider yourself one of those cast-offs too?
No, I'm not a cast-off.
Hit a nerve there. Hey, it's okay for him to call others cast-off, but don't call him one.
I loved it. How quick he was. I am not a cast-off. How dare you? Yeah. But this chip on his shoulder, it's there, man. Have you seen that in his play the last couple of weeks, these 2 wins, after everyone was saying fire Tomlin and let's move on to a new quarterback?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I think a little bit of that comes with age as a veteran quarterback. I think you're less tolerant of a lot of things, especially as a guy who is a future Hall of Famer who's obviously got a resume you'd stack up against anyone's. I like where this team is right now. Now they're fighting an uphill battle, and we know that. And I think we all tend to kind of get overexcited from one week to the next. Big win against Baltimore a couple weeks ago. Good that they were able to follow that up at home. I think, and I mentioned it after the game, I think it'll be interesting if, in fact, they do win the division and make it into the playoffs. When you consider his experience in the postseason and what that might look like when he goes up against some of these younger quarterbacks, maybe a Bo Nix with Denver or Drake May, New England. And I think the same can be said for Josh Allen when he plays against some of these teams. So the AFC will be interesting. If the Pittsburgh Steelers get in, I'm as curious as anybody to see what that might look like, because just getting to the postseason, as we know, it's not enough for the Steelers and that organization, nor should it be. It's a prideful group. It's a prideful quarterback. And maybe they're starting to peak at the right time. Like the 49ers, I do think the Steelers are beginning to play some of their best football, which is what you hope to be doing this time of year.
No doubt. Troy, we appreciate you joining the show on a Thursday. I will never call you a cast-off, just so you know. That's fine. That's it. We won't do it. That's it. See you Monday night, my friend.